So can we start with a nice round of applause for Mr. Salve for the time that he is giving us on this Saturday afternoon, for the effort that he has taken. And every minute of Mr. Salve's time goes between multi-$100 billion arbitrations and flying between London and Delhi and the south of France, I'm told nowadays. So the fact that he's taken the time to be here, I would presume, sir, it would not be wrong in saying that you are here because you love Republic.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
No two views about that.
And let me also begin by saying more personally to you, sir, that we also love you. As a network, everything today when he entered the campus, my mind went back, sir, to January 2021, 2 months after I was arrested. And I had a small anecdote to share, which I may share with everyone. I was being interrogated on the morning of 11th of November. I would be taken to interrogation to the jailer's room, where they would start at 7 in the morning. But that afternoon was different. My dear friend Saket Shukla, managing partner of Phoenix Legal, is here. He remembers that morning. There was a long line, sir, that day. I called Saket. There was a long line of prisoners waiting to make a phone call. So I called Saket. I didn't know what to say to him because he was the only number I had out there. And I said, just try and get me out. He said, don't worry, Mr. Salve will be in top form today. And he was always trying to encourage me. As the interrogation proceeded, the inspector, sub-inspector were all looking at these legal websites. And there was this Harish Salve versus Kapil Sibal thing going on. And every time Mr. Salve would be hard on the case, they would be soft on me. And then they were wondering, I've never been through an interrogation in which every word of yours, I realized that day what liberty meant when you had a true advocate of liberty on the other side, as only because of you I came out. And it is because of you this campus has been built. And everything that's happened in between, we owe a lot to you. So thank you, sir.
You do not owe a lot to me. Let me take this opportunity of reminding you, your motto, Nation First, was Gandhi's motto, Nation First. Except he had to create a nation. And he did. And a lot of people gave up lucrative careers. My grandfather was a very successful criminal barrister. He gave up everything. My grandmother, she was a mathematician from Ferguson College in Pune.
Yeah.
They all gave up their careers, went to jail, gave up everything, because they also thought of nation first. And it is they who have engrafted the liberties. And you talk of Gen Y, Gen Z, I'm not very familiar with this lingo, but I think one thing we need to keep reminding people is liberty is not because you have a good lawyer, liberty is not because you have a good judge. Liberty is alive in India because it lives in the heart of every Indian. And it must continue to live in the heart of every Indian. The only time where our liberty was really in peril, 1975, 1976, the Supreme Court buckled in a judgment which, if you remind them of, they get red in their face. Shivkant Shukla. Who saved liberty in India? Indians. So whenever you say, thank God for liberty, say thank God for the Constitution, and thank God for those who created this Constitution, and thank God to 1.4 billion Indians who believe in this Constitution.
What is your guiding principle? Let's start with the overarching theme of this conversation. What is your guiding principle? When you practice as a lawyer every day, there are minor details and there are bigger details. But there has to be an overarching principle. What is your overarching principle as a student and practitioner of the law?
I must confess, my overarching principles have undergone a change responding to the ecosystem in which one lived. When I started work in early 80s, you had a strong government, Mrs. Gandhi, very in one sense, opinionated, highly into the socialist paradigm, scant respect for individual liberties. And I don't know whether your generation even knows the first attempt to create the press bill was under Mrs. Gandhi. So in 1980-81. So we've seen all this. And I used to be in Soli Sorabji's chamber. We used to fight a lot. That's when public interest litigation was born, not for the judges grabbing front page headlines, but for judges actually rescuing bonded labor, judges rescuing women who were in captivity and things like that. So that was a very different ecosystem. And I grew up in what I call the Krishnaization of the Indian jurisprudence, where, as Upendra Bakshi always said, from a Supreme Court of India, he made it a Supreme Court for Indians. So that's the ecosystem in which we grew. We fought passionately for all the causes. And that continued over the years. And then came coalition politics, in which you did not have a government. And after a while, as I always said, and a lot of people used to criticize me for saying this, I used to always say, India is the biggest living proof of a God above, because I don't know how we tick. Every time we feel this is the end of the road, something good happens to us. So we all remember those days of 1990s. All sorts of things were going on in the country. So that was a different ecosystem in which we all worked, we all fought. We fought for the judges at that time. When in the coalition dharma, they started packing the courts with cronies. And today, and I saw this in 2014, and I said this to our Honorable Prime Minister, today I genuinely feel, in the last chapter of my working life, I have to work for nation first.